Well, hi everybody, this is DearMamaSal and I'm back again. I'm just going to put up the new link. I don't know what's wrong with my computer that I don't seem to be able to get audio on it. So, never mind, what we are is flexible, and welcome to everybody. I'm just going to make sure that everybody knows what the new link is, and then we can start. There you go. That's good, Jody. I just want to get the right link so that I can put it up. There must be something wrong with my computer, is what I'm thinking. So these things happen, right? Just bear with me 1 second. You know, today we're going to be talking about what it is to be adult, and this would be one of those great examples of what it's like to be adult. An adult understands that there will be days when things don't go quite the way they're meant to, for example, right now, and that is okay. That's part of life, that things don't go exactly to plan. So I want really to talk about how I'm looking into totally the wrong place to find out what I need to find out. Just bear with me 1 second. I'm trying to get the link for this so that I can put it up on a different program. Do you think I can find the stream for it? Just hold on 1 second. This is about learning to walk and chew gum at the same time, which I'm definitely struggling with today. And I don't know which one is the old one and which one is the new one. Never mind. Oh, there you go. Jody's got it. Thank you, Jody. That's very kind of you. Now I've got to find out. That's really kind of you, Jody. Thank you. Oops. All right. Now I've got to type over the top of this. If I can. Come on. Wow. Come on, life. Help me out a little here. I can do this. Wow. All right, let's do this. Wow, that is really amazing. All right, so let me see. Let me get back to where I was. Oh, I'm here, aren't I? I have to remember which screen I'm on now. All right, everybody. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was, for those of you who are regular watchers, you know that I'm in the process of now selling my house. I was for a year in the process of downsizing my house, but now I'm in the process of actually selling it. And I had something happen that I thought was so typical of what is adult. And that was that I had two different showings planned on for yesterday. Now, that was sort of exciting, but also a bit scary, if you can believe that. And so can you understand that sometimes these things can be both? It's sort of exciting, hello, this is actually happening, and then a bit scary, you know, what if? And so I just wanted to talk a little bit about what the adult thinks and what the child thinks. You know, the child had a hello, Nyasha. The child in me had a little bit of a sadness. I don't mind telling you that. But the adult in me said, no, I need to get the house all neat and tidy and put everything where it's meant to go, ready to do the showings. And so I spent all day Tuesday doing that, thinking that Wednesday was in fact Thursday, which it wasn't. And then the most incredible thing happened. After I had everything clean and tidy and ready for the showing, they cancelled, both. Now, I want to ask you, as a human being, what is your instant reaction when you hear that something that you planned for is cancelled? And I want just to get a feeling for this, because I think it'll help you see what is necessary to be an adult. So, all right, so Linda is saying, oh, I need to get this on so that I can see these comments. And Linda's saying, you know, so what? But that wasn't my first reaction, Linda. I'd love to tell you I was that, you know, calm about it as my first reaction, but I wasn't. And so my first reaction was more a case of, how can they do that to me? You know, it's not fair. And I would like to say that that is perfectly normal, but pretty childish. Because being an adult means that you understand that, you know, things are going to go wrong. That not, you know, things don't always go to plan. And so what I did was I allowed myself that moment of thinking, after all that, can you imagine my thinking? After all that cleaning and tidying, now they're not coming? Like, hello? And then I just laughed and went, well, you did that in much better time than the first time. So the first thing is to be aware of your natural reaction, all right? The second thing is to just then think in an adult way. An adult would think it's perfectly normal for people to cancel. And then the little kid in me had a little bit of a snit and said, but both of them? Well, you know, it is what it is, right? So I managed to get over that fairly well. Right, so Nyasha's saying that, MamaSal, I think I would have cried. Yes, and but you see, that's when you know, you know whether you're adult or not, because as an adult, you don't get all your hopes into any one thing. You don't expect things to go perfectly. And so I just wonder whether, you know, any of you can relate to that. Because it's really important to see that this is quite normal in life, where things don't go exactly as we want them to. And so when you can see that, when you can understand it, then, you know, you've actually got a better reality going on, and you're in you're an adult. So there was another one I was thinking about, you know, so maybe I can get from those of you who are watching at the moment, you know, what sort of things do you think you have in place that makes you an adult? I was thinking, as an adult, I probably have a job, all right? Unless, you know, as a temporary thing, I'm between jobs. But I think as an adult, I have a job that I get up every morning and I go to a job, unless, of course, I am unable to work, you know, because of a disability or something, or something like that. But number one thing, I think, being adult is that I have a way of earning money, and therefore that I am capable of paying my own way. Again, if you are somebody with a disability, you are coping within, you know, the best way that you can within that. So then I was thinking, well, as an adult earning money, I probably would have a bank account. That would make me adult at a different level. So, but all these things are so predicated on what your life is doing at the moment. So, if you're not capable of all those things, I would say be gentle with yourself. I think what happens is that we're inclined to say that adulthood is related to age, and I've discovered it took me an awfully long time to grow up. Yeah, and I don't know if any of you relate to that. It just took me such a long time to grow up, and so I'm going to read you some quotes that I hope will help us talk about this a bit more and also understand it with some humor. Uh, but the late Billy Graham said, "Each life is made up of mistakes and learning, waiting and growing, practicing, patience, and being persistent." So, do you think that you can forgive yourself for making mistakes? Because, okay, Linda's saying, and if it's a case of age, I haven't got there yet. So, Jody's saying, I went into adulthood kicking and screaming, and I still have my days. Yeah, and so do I. And that's why I wanted to talk about it. So, do you agree that being adult, it means that you understand that you will make mistakes? And that's, it's not the end of the world. Being adult means that you don't have to have everything instantly. How many of you can relate to that one? Which is that as a lot of people are unable to curb their need to have things immediately. Do any of you relate to that one? And so to me, that is a really important one to understand, which is the instant gratification. If you are able to control that, then you are in a better place than a lot of people. Okay, so I would say, all right, so Nyasha is saying her parents still wash and cook for me. And I'm sorry, Nyasha, because I can't see all the comments because I'm trying to find out if I can get to that so I can read the comments as well. All right, but I think I saw that you said that, okay, I know how I can do it maybe. That are you an adult because your parents still look after you? I would say that, the reason your parents still do things for you is their choice. I personally think that at your age, because I know that of your age, that you should be doing your own washing and doing some of the family cooking. But from what I understand, Yasha, your parents don't allow you to. And so, I would say you've got a difficult road. It's difficult for you to grow up when you're not being allowed to. All right. So to me, my feeling is I would definitely. I had. Yes, they don't allow you to. All right. And so this is a really difficult thing. I really think you need to have another discussion with your parents and explain to them that you need to learn how to do your own wash and you need them to allow you to make a few mistakes because one day they're not going to be there. And you are going to be totally helpless unless they start teaching you the basic life skills. All right. I want to tell you, Nyasha, I used to, when I was married, my 6-year-old could do the wash. It's not rocket science. And, but I made sure that he was properly trained on how to do it. And did he make a few mistakes? I'm sure he did. But, he could do it. And he could do it for his brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? It was like, it was a basic skill. I believe that that is really important. But if you've got the problem where your parents will not teach you, I think they have a problem. All right, they have a problem, which is that they need perfection, and you haven't reached perfection. And your answer to that, if they're saying, but you don't do it properly, you go, because I haven't been allowed to practice it enough. Do you understand that, Nyasha? The reason that we can do our own wash is we have done it enough. You're right. We've practiced it enough to do it correctly. And so I would say the same with cooking. And I know that you've got some eyesight issues, but don't let them give that to you. All right. The eyesight issues, blind people cook. Hello, Erin. Good to see you, honey. Blind people cook. So this is about, excuse me, I need you to let me practice, because otherwise I am going to be helpless after you've gone. And I think that is your best argument, quite honestly. So being able to practice your skill. I had somebody write to me about my art. And for those of you who don't know what my art looks like, that would be some of it, and that would be some of it. And one of the things that they said was, I'd love to be able to do it and make those big cells that you do. And it was really funny, because my instant reaction was, and forgive me for this one, try doing it for a year, morning, noon, and night. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because here is a situation where people, want to be able to learn a skill like overnight. And as those of you who have been with me over the last year know, I've done an awful lot of painting to be able to create the paintings that I do. And at the moment, I am learning a totally new skill, which looked so easy when I first saw it. But boy, I want to tell you something. It's really quite difficult to do. Right. And Nyasha, I totally agree with you. I think that you have every reason to feel a little scared about being helpless after they've gone. And that is your best argument, quite honestly, which is, I need to learn how to do these things. So I would I would really make it a point, maybe you pick one day a week where you get to cook for yourself. That, if you don't cook well enough for them, Nyasha, that's not the problem. You literally say to yourself, okay, I'm going to take one day a week where I cook for myself. Like obviously someday at the weekend when you're not working, but, I'm going to cook my own breakfast, I'm going to cook my own lunch, and I'm going to cook my own dinner. Just so that, and, maybe you can have your mom help you with things like, all right, how do I get this organized? Get her to help teach you. And if she says, I haven't got time, I would look her straight in the eyes, Nyasha, and say, I need you to make time. Otherwise, it is your it is your job as a parent to help me grow up. I need to grow up to survive. And, or do you want me just to be totally helpless? And this is, unfortunately, this is the reality that I see. So one of the things that Billy Graham said, if you remember, Nyasha, when I quoted him just now, he said, practicing patience and being persistent. Unless you continually ask for this. Yes, I need your skill, please. Yes, Linda, that is right. But the thing is, Nyasha cannot get that skill unless her mother makes the time to teach it to her. That is my point. Or else, here is the thing, Nyasha. You could probably teach yourself to cook off YouTube if you wanted to. Right? If your mother says no, she hasn't got the time and doesn't want to make the time, then you say, okay, fine, then I will do it on my own. Yes, Linda's doing it the flattery way. Yes, all right. I'd love to learn your skill, but you see, from what I gather, this isn't working. So this is like I want. All right, Linda. Let me see if I can help here. What I want is Nyasha to take the adult approach, which is if mommy says no, I will not teach you. Then what is she going to do then? Is she going to say, all right. So Nyasha is saying that she wanted to cook for Mother's Day, but by the time she woke up, Mom had cooked already. Well, that's because you didn't wake up early enough. You didn't set an alarm. You see, that's another thing. Adults plan things ahead of time. Hi, Vivian, Michael, Lily, and Andrea. Good to see you, honey. And fiance. Yes, so you understand, Nyasha, that is a really good example of being adult. An adult would have said, well, I know that mom normally gets up at this time. So if I want to cook her breakfast, I need to be up at least an hour earlier in order to cook. And then I need to be out of bed, at least half an hour before that. They would have planned that out. So to feel like, oh, it's not fair, she got up before I could do it, that's childish. To say I did not get up early enough to do it would be adult. Do you understand the difference, Nyasha? All right, so Milo Thomas said, when I was growing up, my mother was always a friend to my siblings and me, in addition to being all the other things that a mum is. And I was always grateful for that because I knew she was somebody I could talk to and joke with and argue with, and that nothing would ever harm that friendship. And I think that is important, all right? That's Andrea, Jody, just so that you know, from Berlin. Well, if she's still in Berlin, I think she moved south of Berlin now. So I think it's a really important thing. Do you have a friend that you can have a really serious argument with and know that you are safe? Because if you have that friend, that means you are both pretty adult. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because if you are in mortal fear of losing anybody you have an argument with, then you do not have an adult relationship. Yes, but are you still living in Berlin? I don't think so, Andrea. I think you moved south of Berlin, if I remember correctly. And it's nice to have you on a broadcast. By the way, Jody, just so you know, Andrea goes way back. Way, way back to just about when we started, I think. You are still in Berlin. Okay, there you go. All right. So do you understand that if you've got a friend that you can have an out and out argument with, but still maintain the friendship, then that's pretty adult. You see, what most people do is they will have an out and out argument with somebody and then think they've ruined the relationship and then withdraw. And I wonder if any of you have ever done that or had somebody else do it with you, that they feel having an argument is the end of the relationship. I can remember having, as some of you know, I had a really serious disagreement with Benji once. And, at the end of it, I just said, I need some time to think about this. And I literally had to go away and get out of the emotion of it and think about it. And then I came back and I said, okay, let's just agree to disagree on this one, because I feel very strongly. All right, so Andrea's saying, I'm feeling a little confused at the moment because I'll be a wife next week. All right, so congratulations, obviously, to you, Andrea. Let me ask you something. You've been a wife before, haven't you? So, and Jody, can you make a note of that so we can remind the peeps as well? So you see, you've been there and done that before. You've had experience. So, and also you've been living like a wife for some time. So what's going to change? What is the confusing part? All right. You've never been married before, really? All right. So Nyasha is going back to the question, and she's saying she wants to make friends, but from time to time they betray you. Okay, that's a really good one to understand, Nyasha. An adult understands that that may happen. All right. An adult understands that I make this friends knowing that they could betray me. All right. And so what they do is they, all right, let me ask, I've got a lot of great people on board at the moment. So let me ask you guys, how do you cover that? Can we help Nyasha with this one? When you make friends, how do you protect yourself from being betrayed, as Nyasha says? Have you found the magic formula for that? All right. And if not, yeah. Because I think, Andrea, when I make friends, I don't even think about that. It's a matter of fact. So I make friends slowly. Right. So Linda says that as an adult, she sort of has her own little formula. Well, 3 tries at what, Linda? Let's make sure we make this easy for Nyasha to understand. When you say 3 tries and they're out, I had something happen. This week, which I found interesting, which is I was on the phone with somebody, and as some of you know, I'm having a little bit of problem with my hearing these days. And so what I did, Linda's saying that 3 tries about being reliable. Yes. And what's reliable to you, it may be different. Nyasha, people don't make friends that way. People don't don't make friends going, let me make a friend so I can betray her. That's not the way that people do it. And if you think that, then that's what you attract. All right. The other thing is, Nyasha, in order to make friends, you're going to have to leave the house. You cannot, you need to make friends in real life, not online. Right. And you need to be able to leave the house. And again, I would urge you to have a serious talk with your family about the fact that you really do need to start getting out and being more everybody. That's all right. Can you still hear me? So Nyasha, one of the things you really do need to concentrate on is getting out. And I would really ask you to talk to your parents about the fact that you need to be able to get out and interact with people. You are not going to learn how to make friends by being at home or just, I know they don't want you to have online friends. All right, so yeah, okay, so let me see what here. Jody's saying, I haven't found the magic formula as I myself was betrayed by my best friend of 20 years. What I do is I pay close attention to the integrity of my own behavior in the friendship. It does involve risk. Yes, exactly, Jody. Oh, I found out how to keep the chat on there. That's quite interesting. If I touch the chat thing, it stays. We like that. So, okay, so Nyasha's saying that she can still hear me. All right, so yes, there isn't a magic formula, Nyasha. You just have to give people little bits of information. Now, I want to tell you something that happened to me on this week. I was playing my online game that I play, and something happened that I didn't like, Nyasha, and I made a choice. I made a choice to either keep quiet about it or else to talk about it. And when I talked about it, I said that it made me sad. Their reaction to what they had done made me sad. And you know, somebody tried to make me feel small by saying, I don't understand why that would make you sad. And I'm going, yes, I'm sure you don't understand, because otherwise you wouldn't have done it. You know what I mean? It was just like, no, I understand you didn't get that. All right, so let me see anyway, so what happened was they actually changed their behavior. I was quite surprised. And because they changed their behavior, I was able to see that they actually did care about me in a different level. So that was a good thing. All right, so Linda's saying, I have, at my time of life, made my decisions in life. To join or go is my way now. I just parted with a friend of 19 years. It's not easy, but it's doable. Yes, I found, hi, Kimmy. That is very doable. The problem Nyasha has is she isn't in a position to make friends. You know, she is stuck at home. But, you know, it's not true that she's stuck at home. So we know you go to work. How do you get to work every day, Nyasha? Because I'm pretty sure you don't walk there. Your dad transports you. So we know that your father is capable of taking you places, right? All right. And so now you need to really, you know, when you're driving with your daddy, ask him how he made friends as an adult. Ask him to explain it to you. Because if he says, well, you know, I was at the gym and I did this, or I was at work and I did this, and da 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 da, then maybe it'll give you a perfect opportunity to say, I need to meet more people. How do I do that? And how can you help me? Because I need to meet more people in my life to grow up, to help me grow up. You know, if you guys are not going to let me cook, then I need to go other people's houses and learn how to cook. You know, maybe somebody else's will teach me. All right. Yes, Linda's saying that she is her own best friend. And she has learned a lot about looking after herself. You see, that is part of growing up. Life is a journey. Kelly McGillis said this. Life is a journey, and it's about growing and changing and coming to terms with who and what you are, and loving who and what you are. Linda, you know, I would suggest that when we first met you, you did not love who you were. Would that be fair? You know, to you, who you were was not the most lovable person in the world. All right, so Andrea's saying, for me, it's hard to make new friends because I'm too shy and I'm too careful as to whom I can trust. My best girlfriend I found 25 years ago at a gym. Yes. So Linda's saying, oh boy, so I was horrible. Yeah, but you're not horrible anymore. You're beautiful. So let me just make sure we all understand that it is our responsibility as adults to actually get out and make friends. You know, they're not don't from my own experience, they are not standing outside my front door waiting to come in and be my friend. I have to go find them. So for the rest of you, all right, so Kimmy's going through that problem now. Andrea, just while I think about it, I missed your answer to what is confusing you or about getting married this coming week. Or is it everything, you know, the total change that you think will come? Because I'd like to suggest that there really isn't going to be that much of a change. All right, so now then, let's see what Nyasha's saying here. Yes, I tried to ask that question. And his response always is, you can't see. How would you go out and make friends? This is why I used to get depressed. Now I just ignore it. Well, okay, that's a great one for people to work with. All right, everybody. So Nyasha tries to get her daddy to do that. You know, I would say to him, you know, Daddy, blind people make friends. Did you know that? You know, because they can hear people and they can still talk to people and they can still communicate with people because they've still got minds. They might not be able to see, but they've got minds. Yeah. All right. So Andrea's saying from Germany, first, I didn't want to know her. And the longer we played sports together, and the longer we knew each other, and the more we get to know each other, and now she's going to be the witness for her wedding. Isn't that wonderful? Yes, I want to tell you, I would have to say that today Yvonne is, you know, one of my very best friends. And, you know, I inherited her with the house. It's funny how you meet people, right? Um, if I look at, you know, other friends in my life and I look at where I met them, they're all different places, you know. So you can meet people just doing the strangest things, but you need to do something, Asha, to make to find new friends. You are not going to be able to do it if your parents do not take you out so you can socialize. And I would recommend going to church. You know, because I think when I say going to church, I think that people who go to church, you know, because I know that you have that ability, that, you know, people at churches are friendly and they're going to do wonders for your self-esteem. They're going to help you feel better about yourself. Or maybe ask your father if you can take a course externally, you know, away from the home. All right, so Andrea's saying, I'm scared of the changes to come, and I'm totally happy that my dream will come true. I'm nervous that everything will go right at this day. Hi, passa. um, from Brazil. I don't think we've had anybody from Brazil on the live chat before. So, hi, Brazil. Nice to meet you. Or hola, I think. All right, so Nyasha is saying, I don't think they do. I didn't either. Before the internet, I was clueless as to visually impaired individual having friends. I was in a bubble then. Wow, isn't that amazing? Oh, I did do it right. Hola. It's the intonation that's important, Pastor. So I like to be multilingual in small ways. How did you find us, Pasa? And you know, it's funny because when I think of Pasa, I think of Pasa Doble. So isn't that funny? You know, and the dancer in me still remembers that. Um, all right, so you saw you saw me at VidCon? Are you serious? Wow, that is amazing. Well, I don't know if you know what we do here, Pasa. That is amazing. Did we chat? You see, that's how you make friends. You go places. Now, that is really, really cute. And by the way, because we haven't seen you before, is there anything in particular that you would like us to talk about? Because let us know. And if we can't do it on this broadcast, we will certainly try to do it on another one. So, Nyasha, I want you to really understand that you've been doing a great job of growing up. I have to give you a lot of compliments on that. I really hear that you are doing just about everything you can within your ability to do things and take responsibility for things and to be aware. Now, I'm pretty sure that that situation about your mom on Mother's Day, you can see that if you had planned it better, you could have done it better. And that's part of growing up. All right? That's part of learning and growing. All right, so Jack Welch said that before you are a leader, success is all about growing yourself. When you become a leader, success is about growing other people. So, to me, that we have to learn to grow up. Pastor's saying she took my card. Well, there you go. It goes to show. Jonas, way. Nice to see you, Jonas. Hi there. We're talking about growing up. All right, so Kimmy's saying she makes friends, but most of them have either moved away or passed on. So it's time for new friends. So that is awesome. Now, and so my question to you is, how do you go about doing that? All right. What is your plan to make new friends? And by the way, how many of you understand that it's easier to say, well, it's too much like hard work, I won't bother? All right, so Nyasha's saying that she's glad that I noticed that she's been trying so hard, but her parents haven't. So, that's okay. I just know that you've been trying really hard, and we've seen it. I think in a very short space of time, you've become a lot more accountable. You've got a lot of catching up to do, Nyasha. We understand that as well. All right. And so, we will just sort of keep trying to help you as best we can. It is difficult. It is difficult because you're in a different country where we don't know how to get you some help. All right, so Linda's saying, you taught me years ago, Sal, that I have to put in the effort in making a life or friends. It works, yes. You can't sit around hoping that they'll suddenly find out you exist, right? Get out to places, like to the senior, yes, the Senior Citizen Center is a great place for you, Kimmy. I would also say, from what I know about you, Kimmy, that maybe joining a club or, start doing learning a new skill, a craft or something where you automatically will be with other people. Yes, and Jody also has noticed how far you've come, and Nyasha. So you keep doing it. You're doing a great job. No, Kimmy, something, it's okay not to be the type of person that likes to party, but you do like to learn from my experience of you. So if you like to learn, think about what new skill could you start learning, and therefore you will meet new people because if you go out and learn it. Yes, you see, even Linda's noticed you're doing a great job, Nyasha. Just be gentle with yourself. But I would definitely start by making a list of the things you want to learn. All right, so you want to learn to do the wash, you want to learn to be able to cook. All right, so wait a minute, Kimmy, you're trying to get somebody to do classes. People are doing classes all the time, Kimmy. So I don't understand why you're trying to get people to do it. There are people doing it already. Or do you want them to come to you? All right, so Nyasha's saying, why don't my parents acknowledge it? I love my parents, but to me, they don't, because I watch Juji and Benji and they always praise their kids. I wish I was part of their family because I never heard that. Yes, it's unfortunate. But the thing is this, Nyasha, and I've got to say this time and time again to you. You need to know that they have done the best they knew how. Maybe they didn't have very loving parents themselves. And therefore, what they were taught was not what Benji and Judy do with the children. All right. So, if you compare, it's very dangerous to compare. To compare your parents to Benji and Judy would be unfair to your parents, in my view. Kimmy, classes for older people. There are classes for older people all over the time. Go down to the senior center. I bet you they got classes going on all the time. So, you just need to find out what it is. They probably got a brochure and it tells you. And if you go to them, Kimmy, and say, hey, I'm really interested in, I don't know, needlepoint. Do you have any idea where I could find somewhere? I would Google it. I'd find a craft or something that I want to learn and just Google it, go, needlepoint in my town, whatever your town is. And I am certain you're going to find a course that you need. You do need to call them. Yes, Kimmy, you do. There you go, Nyasha. She's going to try. That's a good start. Let us know when you've done it. Ruth Bader Ginsburg said, my mother told me two things constantly. One was to be a lady, and the other was to be independent. And the law was something most unusual for those times because most girls growing up in the 40s, the most important degree was not your BA, but your MRS, as in Mrs. Yes, I would agree with that. I knew when I was growing up that I was told to get a good education so I could marry well. Yeah, a lot of good that did me. But I'm really glad for the education that I got. But again, my education didn't allow me to go to university. Because, I grew up in England and it was different there. But, it wasn't like everybody went to university. It was very different. And so, but, I never let that stop my education. I carried on learning. How many of you are still learning today? And I don't just mean a craft. I mean that you still enjoy learning. Because, I think some people are learners. Yes, look at that. Linda, also in England, said, I get it, Sal. My dad said, why take an education because you're female and you will have a family? That was your only worth, right, Linda? It was just like, you're not going to make a difference in the world. You're not going to I mean, if only they had known what I was going to get up to in my life, I guess they would have given me some different skills. And by the way, I was given choices for a higher education, and they were to go to finishing school, which is where they teach you to be a snob, to go to home economics college, which is where they would have taught me to cook. I should have taken that one. Or I could become a secretary. Those were my options. Can you believe that? Yeah. And so, it was just like, wow, the options that we had. I look at education today and going, gosh, if you want to, you can learn almost anything you want to on the internet today. But you're not going to make friends necessarily. So I would really recommend, if you are short of friends or you need a friend, you need to get out of the house and learn something outside. Take a course, either an educational course of some sort, or a craft course or something like that. Part of growing up is just taking what you learn from that and moving on and not taking it to heart. How many of you have found that the work we've been doing this year on emotional intelligence has been helping you? That you're not overreacting to everything as much? Because I believe that is part of being an adult, where we don't overreact to everything. We don't take everything personally. We understand that the other person is entitled to say or think whatever they want to, and we don't have to buy into it. And that is, I think, when you can learn to put that mental boundary down, that you have grown up. Jody, I thought you really grew up huge when you realized the emotional, that emotional pretzel thing, where everybody was turning you into an emotional pretzel. And the day that you saw that and understood it, I really felt you grew up big time. It was just like, no, you are allowed to say no to people. It's okay. That's part of growing up, is being able to say no. I'm thinking about Andrea getting married next week. Andrea, I think it's incredible that you've lived this much of your life and never been married, and you choose to get married now. So tell us, why did you choose to get married? You're already an adult, you already have your children. Why did you say, now I'm going to get married? I think it's beautiful, but I'd love to know the why. Hi, Beth. Good to see you. And Beth, well done on calling out a crime. Well done, sweetie. That takes great courage to do that. And I'm very proud of you for doing it. Okay, Niesh is saying, okay, I'm going to change my level of thinking. I think I'm stuck in the past. I tend to always remember to what happened to me back then. Because of that, I'm not going to change. You don't want to let go. Yeah, exactly. Yes, you know something, Asha. If you can start living for the future, and that's what I want you to think about. Can't change the past; it's done. You can't change what your parents didn't do. You can change what you do. Yes, so Nyasha, I understand that you react pretty well, pretty strongly emotionally, and that is part of growing up, and we're all trying to do that better. I think this is a really cute quote. She said, growing up, I had only one pair of good shoes. So on rainy school days, my mom would slip a plastic bag over them to keep them dry. She'd wrap her shoes on her feet with plastic bags. But I was never embarrassed because the school bus would be filled with rows and rows of young Iowans with bread bags slipped over their feet. In other words, be grateful for what you have. Right? I think part of growing up is to learn to be grateful for what you have and do the best you can within that. I never got angry about the fact that I didn't have the fancy university degrees. I never let that stop me either. All right. I always believed that I had an innate intelligence. Sometimes I was proven wrong, but it's just like I really do. I think, Jody, one of the things that you have brought to my attention that really I hadn't given a great deal of thought about is how much I am a Mrs. MacGyver. I've always, I remember my brother saying to me that, he thought I would have been really good as a pioneer. Because I have that mind, I can make things happen. All right, so Andrea's saying, sorry, this thing wasn't scrolling, and therefore I've missed some comments here. My fiance is my first love. I met him when I was 12 years old, and we've been together for. Wow. You found each other again back in a couple of years ago. That is wonderful. I'm so glad that you met your first love again. All right, so let's ask the viewers, Nyasha. Nyasha's asking, how do I let go of the past? Let's see how the rest of you have done it. Hi, Nada. Good to see you. How are you feeling? Wow. All right, so I think I might have missed a few comments. Let me see where I got to. All right, so I was can't even remember where I was. Thank you for hanging in there, by the way, everybody. All right. right. So everybody's saying that it is difficult to let go of the past. I just keep trying to remind myself that the way that my past made me who I am today. All right. And so I'm grateful for my past. So what I do is I keep reminding myself that regardless of what happened in my past, regardless of what happened in my past, I can only live today. So, I ask myself every day, am I making myself happy today? If so, I'm being pretty adult. Am I taking responsibility for my actions today? In which case I'm being pretty adult. Am I right, Jody and a few other people here, am I pacing myself properly today? How many of you are really trying to do too much every day? One of the greatest lessons I've learned from downsizing my house is it is okay to do things at your speed, not at everybody else's. I think that was one of the greatest learnings that I had. And so now every day, I don't know if this makes sense to any of you, but every day I go, I've got 1 hour of doing this, and I've got 1 hour for the house. What's the one thing I want to achieve in the house? I've got 1 hour for downsizing. If I only have 1 hour, what is the most important one thing I need to do for for the next step in downsizing? At the moment, I control my stress level. Nobody else does. Does that make sense to everybody? And the other thing I would have you do, and I would really recommend this to Nyasha and everybody else, which is overwhelm or being lazy is a choice. Now, I'm thinking about Andrea getting married. Andrea, how are you in overwhelm at all for what has to happen by next week? Because if so, your most important question is, who can I have help me? Who can I call to help me? All right, so sorry, I'm just reading back on people's comments here. Kimmy's saying she's trying to forget the past, but 2 of your family members keep throwing it in your face. Well, just ignore them. All right, so Kimmy's saying, yes, Nyasha, we all lost connection. I did too. Kimmy, to get rid of clutter and have a yard sale, don't have the yard sale. I would recommend, I didn't have the yard sale. I realized that having a yard sale will take more time and more effort and more stress, and I'm not that sort of person. So I literally picked up everything and said either donate it or throw it away or put it away. Right? So this is like, I have done all my downsizing and literally I've done it over a year. I did most of it by, 1 bag of garbage into the garbage every week. It's amazing how I've taught myself that. And, now I could do almost the same again because I know how to do it. I just emptied my trailer. And for those of you who know that, I sold my trailer last week. It's gone to a homeless man. And the most incredible thing is that I took quite a few things out of the trailer and I just put them all in my lobby. And then I bought them up just a cubie at a time and sorted them, right? And then I'd go down and get another cubie and bring it up and sort it. I didn't, worry about it. I just systematically did 1 cubie at a time. And what I would do is I would have a cubie and a garbage bag. And it was like, do you really want to keep it? No. Do I really want to keep it? Yeah, I think so. And then, and then when I got it upstairs, I'd ask again, do you really want to keep it? And I was amazed how many times I went, I wanted it enough to bring it upstairs, but I really don't want it anymore. And I threw it away, another bag of garbage. So do you understand? I think that is important. You're selling yours for money. I've got to learn that skill. That's my intent when I get moved. So you thought you were the only one that wasn't letting go of the past, Nyasha. That's not true. All right, so you have got some help. All right, that is, Andrea, that is the whole point of having bridesmaids and having, witnesses and things. The idea is that it should be as stressless as possible. It should be an exciting, fun day. All right, and I would really work at just keep saying it is what it is. Don't worry about it. Now, Andrea, I remember on the way to my wedding, I had two, but on one of them, my first one, my brother saying to me, I've just heard that the caterers haven't arrived. This was really nice, just as I'm ready to get married. And I said, I really don't care. And he said, what? I said, I really don't care. I said, if the only reason people have come to my wedding is to eat, then that was the wrong reason to come. And if they came to be my friend and to see me married, then I know I will be able to say, let's make a plan and we'll all go, and eat at the local, McDonald's if necessary. We'll go and get some food. I'm really not worried. And the funny thing was that was a great way to do it. And I think about all the years I stressed out about things that really I should not have stressed out about, because 99% of the things never happened anyway. I was getting really worried. How do I, my budget was getting really low and I only just got my house on the market. And I was going, how am I going to do this? And then, magically my trailers sold and I didn't even have a for sale sign on it. This is like, you have to trust life a little bit. Together we have the power to inspire, to connect, to deliver on new opportunities and rich experiences that can open doors to innovate and progress while growing global economies and increasing well-being. What are you doing to increase the well-being of your life? Oh, so Nyasha wants to know, what did you guys do to help let go of the past? And I would say I haven't totally let go of my past, Nyasha. But one of the ways I work on it is whenever I get those thoughts about, I can't help that because of my past, I go, that was a good excuse. It's not reality. I just kept going, what am I going to do today? What am I going to do? Not blame everybody for what they didn't do. What am I going to do to help myself today? How many of you had to learn that lesson? And I can say, because I didn't have the same education as everybody around me, that I was not worthy. Well, hello. I really believe that I made a success of my life in more ways than one. And it had very little to do with my education. Yes, that's a great idea. Andrea's saying that she will laugh about everything that will go wrong because she knows some of it will, right? This is called, I would see it as a competition, and you go, okay, life, I see what you're trying to do here, but we're going to keep on laughing. So life 0, we get 1 point. Every time something can happen and you can laugh about it, give yourself a bonus point. What should we call it? A stress relief point. Life, you try to mess with my day. You do not win. Because I'm laughing at you, life. Nothing is going to spoil my day. So I think that if every day you could look at your life as a blank canvas, just literally look at your day and go, this is my day. Right? There we go. Start every day and go, what would you like to put into your life today? Let's do that exercise. What would you like to put into your life today? Let's hear it. If you had a perfect day lined up, what would it look like? Let's play this game for a second, people. What would a perfect day look like to you? What time would you wake up in the morning? First of all, I'd like to suggest that be a good start for me to wake up. Because I don't know about you guys, but I actually appreciate every morning that I wake up. I go, oh, good, I woke up. You see, I think we start each day with a blank canvas. Now, for some of you, you need to fill that canvas. Well, I've got, 8 hours of working. All right? And so therefore, there's a big part of your day that is out of your control. But I also would be grateful for the fact I have a job. I believe that every day I make my choice to be happy or not. I think I make that choice every single day I get up. I make the choice whether I am productive or not. I make that choice every single day. It has nothing to do with my past. Does that make sense to anybody? It has nothing to do with my past, but it could have everything to do with my future. I ask myself every day, what one thing can I do towards selling the house today? Now, I know that the house is ready to be sold as it is, but I'm still continuing because there's still little things, I'm now down in the garage and starting to sort that out a bit more. I also ask myself every day, what am I doing for my stress relief? All right. And so every day I try and do one thing that's a little bit creative. And it can be as little as painting the back of a beer mat. It's like I try to do something creative. So, maybe it's baking something. All right, Andrea, good to see you and all the best for this week, honey. I'll make sure the peeps all know you're getting married on Friday. What time on Friday? So exciting, huh? All right, so Jodie's saying that laughter is part of her perfect day. Now, I know, Jodie, that you did something to make you laugh today, right? I was, both Jodie and I were big fans of Tim Conway, and he passed this week. But I know that Jodie took the time to actually watch his incredible skit about being a dentist, and how can you not laugh at that? It was just such an incredible skit. And so, it's a case of you can choose to laugh every day just by putting on a funny YouTube thing or, reading funny quotes or, we have so much ability with the internet today. Right, Jodie, imagine 40 years ago, we couldn't have just typed in Tim Conway dentist and found the skit. All right, today, that's all we have to do. Everything is true. And so to me, all right, 10 a.m., Jody, 10 a.m. is the wedding in Berlin time. So I need to backtrack that. If you can just put it at 10 a.m. in Berlin, then I will backtrack that time. So do you think that being financially responsible is a grown-up skill? Do you think that handling your own money is a grown-up skill? You know, I have met many people who were married to men that wouldn't let them control their own money, right? And I used to say to them, why don't you have your own bank account? Well, because my husband won't let me. And I go, I wouldn't care a continental what's it if my husband didn't want me to have a bank account. I assure you, I would always have my own bank account because that is my credit. I need to build my own credit as an adult, not my husband's or not my parents, right? I need to be able to build my own credit. Therefore, you know, I need a bank account. Even if I put very little money in it, I need my own bank account. It gives me a credit rating. All right, listen to this. Daryl Hammond said that growing up in a group home and with an undiagnosed learning disability to boot, the odds of success were not on my side. But when I joined a high school football team, I learned the value of discipline, focus, persistence, and teamwork. All skills that have proven vital to my career as a CEO and social entrepreneur. No problem, Nyasha. No problem at all. So you all understand that this whole thing about fill up your day, I think that's an adult responsibility. We choose what we're going to fill our day with. For those of you who've had children, would you agree that every day you chose whether to be angry at them or not? Right? You know, we have to make those choices. I think when I deal with my friends, I choose every day. Now, I had a really interesting situation happen this week. I was going to talk about it earlier, but I was on the phone with my friend and my realtor, the same person, and she said something, and what I caught was that they should not have done that, but I didn't hear who should not have done that. So I wrote to her and said, look, I'm really sorry, but somewhere you said that somebody shouldn't have done that, and I want to know who that was. And she wrote back to me, and I said, you know, because of my hearing issues, I missed part of that, and I missed who it was that had done something wrong. Can you explain it to me? And the reason I wanted it explained to me, because I wanted to know whether I had done something wrong or if somebody else had done something wrong, what that was, so that I could understand. And, you know, the first thing was that she ducked the question. Do you know that feeling where they answer the email but never address the question? So being me, I immediately wrote back and said, thank you for your answer, but you missed answering the question. Could you please answer the question? And this is to a friend, you know, this because this is important to me, and that's what I said. And then she wrote back, and I was not surprised. She wrote back and said, oh, I can't remember what it was. Now, I don't mind telling you, I did not believe that. You know, I you know, it wasn't that long a conversation that we had, and I cannot believe that she cannot remember what it was. But if you want to say that, that's your right. So then what I said, and I wonder if you can understand, in order to set my boundary, yes, Jody, selective memory. So this is what I said. For any communication to do with the house, please make sure it's done in writing, not by telephone, because obviously you cannot remember what you tell me on the phone. Therefore, I want it in writing. Now, was that being pretty harsh, or was that being fair? What do you think? I didn't want it where I was told, but I told you that on the phone. And I'm going, no, I don't want that to happen. No, I said anything to do with the house, I want it in writing. If you cannot remember a telephone conversation that happened 20 minutes ago, then I want everything in writing. Yes, I'm protecting myself. I agree, Jody. I'm sure it's not very popular, but I don't care. I need to protect myself. You see, I'm an adult. This is my house and this is my future, is attached to this. I think this is a rather nice quote. It says that happiness is neither virtue nor pleasure, nor this thing nor that, but simply growth. We are happy when we are growing. How many of you agree with that? That you go, wow, I am so happy that I know what I know today. Which is why they say, that youth is wasted on the young. You know what I mean? It's like, how many of you would like to start life again with the knowledge you have today? It's really important. Yeah. But what I do is every day I go, what am I going to do with my life now that I know all of this? Right? What am I going to do with my life? I look at so many people around me, and what I love about them is that they can laugh at themselves. How many of you know that part of being an adult is that you can you can go to the fridge to find the crackers that you keep in another cupboard, and go, yeah, I guess that isn't the right place to be looking for the crackers, and laugh. Not beat up on myself, but just go, no, not where you find the crackers, Sal. I think the day that I don't notice that I've gone to the fridge for the crackers, and can't laugh at myself is the day I need to be worried. But then the funny thing is, by then I won't have that concern. I won't be worried. Everybody else will, but I won't, right? So I look at what is growing up. How many of you believe that you are growing up into adulthood every day of your life by the way in which you react to things or don't react to things? And Ray Kroc asked this. He said, are you green and growing, or are you ripe and rotting? You see, I think if you intellectually know you need friends, then you need to get out and go and do something about it, not sit at home and complain about it. You see, for every day that you sit and go, oh, I really should, you see, what you become is a victim. And then everybody that has friends, you go, well, it's okay for them. Well, they work at getting friends. They work at keeping friends. How many of you know that keeping friends is difficult as well? The same as I was saying about somebody saying to me, gosh, I wish I could paint the way you do. Well, hello, have you given it the time? Or did you try it twice and find it was messy and that it didn't work and you just gave up? You see, I think the reason I can do these paintings is because I've failed enough at them. And if you don't believe me, Jody, because over the year, Jodie's seen an awful lot of pictures of failures, and she kept supporting me. Thank you, Jodie. And some of them were beautiful, and then they dried and cracked and looked terrible. You see, it's about, if you want to learn a skill, if you want to improve your life in some way, it is a constant learning. It's not just a 6-week course. I was amazed, as I said, when I had this issue that, with the game that I was playing, and I thought somebody had treated me badly. And I actually said that in public, that I thought I had been treated badly. And it was interesting because people got very uncomfortable, except I didn't feel uncomfortable. It was like, I really think that you treated me badly on this one. And, it was funny how people were reacting. Now, people don't like the truth. And I said, but I'm not going to, punish you. We're in the middle of a really important thing, goal that you're trying to achieve. And I'm going to hang in there and help you achieve it because I know I'm one of their top players. And they're going, but, and, it's not a threat. It's like, start treating me better, people. I deserve to be treated better than this. And, yeah, Jodie's saying that, she's been on this journey from when I was painting on little squares of paper like this to the big ones that hang on my walls. And, Jodie, I'm waiting to do the really big one. I want to do a really big one. Like the eagle was a really big one. That's why I'm waiting, and it's like I am so looking forward to getting moved, and instead of unpacking, I'll be painting. I'm pretty sure of that, because it'll be my choice what I do with the rest of my life. How about it's been very funny to try and act like an adult? Even getting dressed every day, I'm like, should I wear a blazer and walk around with an umbrella? Do I carry a briefcase? Because I'm trying to be some image of adults I saw on TV when I was growing up. All right, so this is like, what does life look like to you, right? I see the next phase of my life making new friends. All right, because when I move, I'm going to obviously make new friends. I'm going to be making new friends, and I'm going to be having the freedom to enjoy my life at a different level. And it'll be a lot of new learning because it'll be a new place to live and learning how to fit into it comfortably. I may have to downsize the space, but on the other hand, if I'm prepared to downsize how I live, I can still have the space, right? So it's all these choices are mine to make. And how many of you can see that I'm working really hard at taking it one step at a time? Jodie was telling me that she just had to fill in 80 pages of documentation to recertify her disability. It was 80 pages, Jodie, is that correct? And I thought there is a classic example of adulthood. Because a lot of people would say, oh, I really, that's not fair. I shouldn't have to fill this in and blah, 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 blah. And yet, 89 pages, okay. And yet Jodie knew if I fill this in, this is what I get in by way of a reward. How many weeks did it take you to fill in those 89 pages, Jodie? You see, this is about how much are you prepared to do to get what you want. Let me just see about 5 weeks. All right. So you can say, what about, you have to hear that Jodie has to do that every year. Justify her disability to re-authenticate it for the insurance company. So Jody, let me ask you a simple question. Is it worth 5 weeks of your life each year to fill in those forms? All right. The answer is you can mutter and grunt and hate it as much as you like. But the truth is, if you want the insurance, you've got to fill in 89 pages. And what I thought was really telling, Jody, was when you said, thank goodness that I wasn't able to go to some of the specialists because it would be more than 89 pages, right? So this year you've got more specialists coming up, in which case, be prepared. And let me ask you, from your experience of filling those 89 pages out, is it a good idea to start now? Wow, congratulations to Charles. He just got head technical manager. Wow, that's awesome, Beth. Beth, I wanted to know if you got promoted to manager. Yes, you see, Jody's mentality now is my job is to do whatever it takes to satisfy their need, right? Why? I want the insurance. So I'm not going to complain about it. I'm just going to do what it takes. You see, I think that's being really adult. Beth, I think Beth saw something going on in her place of work that she thought was wrong and illegal, and she called it. She actually didn't think about how many people were not going to like her for it. She actually saw there was something wrong and called it in. I wonder how many of you would have the courage to do that. And Beth, I know how scary that can be because of somebody retaliating. But for you, if you have integrity, there is no choice. What she was doing was wrong and illegal, and you had to call it for what it was. Good for you. I'm proud of you. You declined the position because they want me to run a different dollar. Okay, but I'm holding out for the one I work at. I will get it. I know they need me, so I can wait. Now, that's being very smart, Beth. You can now, you know what you want, and you're prepared to wait for it. That's very adult. And by the way, I agree with you. All right. But you also know you run the risk that they might not, and in which case you're just happy anyway. I think that's great. Well done. You are definitely doing great work, Beth. And not only that, I know you're teaching your people at the same time. All right. And wouldn't it be so bad they offered 10,000 more than they previously offered? Yeah, I bet you're worth twice that. Oh no, not even twice. Probably 5 times that. So when you look at your life every morning, all right, that's what I'm saying to you. I want you to start your adult life every morning and ask yourself, how would an adult deal with this? All right, not how do I want to deal with it, but how would an adult, a really intelligent adult, deal with their life today? So to me, I'm doing little boxes of work, if you know what I mean. It's like, what do I need to do to feel that I have done something in the right direction? One more step, right? That's all. Because if there is anything I have learned, and I'm saying this a second time, the one thing I have learned from the past year that blows me away is one step after one step after one step, I totally went through my home and turned it into a show house. Right? It just by taking one step every day, it wasn't that I didn't allow myself to get overwhelmed. Like where the room was overwhelming, I'd go, let me start with this corner of the desk. Let me just do this little bit and just tidy that little bit up. And then the next day I'd go to the next little bit. Does that make sense? You see, if you realize that there is no rush in life, Jody got through 89 pages. Jody, did you also do it by just having, let me do a page a day or whatever it is until it's done? But she had to plan the time. Wow. Wow, that's amazing. Beth's saying that they are investigating the other stores and there are other managers doing the same thing. That is scary, Beth. You did what needed to be done. Yes, you needed to call out a wrong. Well done. It won't make you a lot of friends. There'll be a lot of managers that will not like you, but it is not about you. All right. It's about them. They were the ones doing illegal work, not you. And I've had that happen in my life, Beth, where, somebody I knew, I heard that they were doing something illegal. And I actually said to them, is it true that you're doing this? Well, it's none of your, it's none of your concern. I said, yes, it is. I just want you to know that if you continue to do this illegal behavior, I'm going to have to stop being your friend. What? It's none of your business. I said, yeah, it is. You're my friend. And if you choose to do this, this is your right. But I choose not to have a friend that does this sort of thing. Now, is that being a bad friend? My attitude is I really don't want to associate with a crook, because this is, not something I choose to do. I had one person that I knew, I really couldn't call them a friend, but I happened to know that they had had a life of dealing drugs and things. And I said, I'm prepared to do everything I can to help you. But if you ever cross that line again, if you ever go back to that life again, know that you also lose me. Yes, Beth, I totally understand that the reason you did it was so that people could get the money they deserved. You didn't do it to be, but the people are going to pay the price. And this is the thing, you'll be amazed how many people are doing illegal things. Really amazing how many people are doing illegal things. I can remember once going to my boss and saying, I wonder if I could ask a favor of you. And he said, what's that? And I said, I need to steal one of those strips of staples. And he said, what? I said, my stapler at home has run out and I haven't got time to go to the store and I need to do something really urgently for something that he and I were both involved in, but my stapler's run out. Can I please take a strip of staples? And he said, who asks that question? I said, I do. How many of you understand that to me, it wasn't just that I could take them because he would never know. It was like, I needed him to know I was taking them. And everybody laughed at me. And I said, you can laugh, that's fine. I don't mind. So, to me, it's a different level of integrity, I guess. So, Beth, I wonder what it is that, what it is that you managed to create this reality for yourself. I was thinking that, you've wanted to manage your own store for some time now. And it's amazing the things that seem to have just dropped into place for that to become a possibility in a very short space of time. And I keep thinking, Beth, about that family member of yours who said that's a dead-end job or whatever it was that they said about it, will they feel the same way if you become a manager of a store? And do you really care? So I think you have done a lot of hard work to get where you're going, and I think that you will continue to do that. How many of you know that it is an extremely difficult thing to be adult? But what I've discovered is that the more adult I am becoming, even at this age, right? The more adult I am becoming, the happier I am and the more peaceful I am. I am amazed. I think 3 different people this week have said, I cannot believe how calm you are about selling your house. I said, I did have a moment, when they cancelled the showings, but, really, I realize I don't need 648 people to come through my house. I just need one, the right one. And I have learned so much so far in doing this. I am pretty sure that when I move to my next home, I will be more organized than I was in this one. Why? I've learned how to be more organized. That was part of the learning. So Beth, I look at your journey over the last year and I go, isn't it interesting all the bits that have fallen into place for you, how you've allowed, your daughter to be more responsible, how, you've realized that you have impact on all your staff and that your mentality affects their mentality. I think it's really wonderful to watch that growth, all right, and to see how that is affecting your life and other people's. I personally have found it a fascinating journey to watch. It's a bit like watching Jodie over the year or so, or Lauren. We don't see Lauren much on the broadcast, but, Lauren and I, chat almost every day. But, to watch her developing and coping with life in a different way. Carol Burnett said, I wish my mother had left something about how she felt growing up. I wish my grandmother had done the same. I wanted my girls to know me. So if you had to talk to children today, not necessarily yours, but children today, what would you advise them that would help them grow up and be more adults? Beth saying, I am adult finally. I'm so proud of me for the first time. Yeah, I think that's part of being adult. It's to be able to control your own life, right? Beth, the day that I had to call in to a tip line about a crook that I actually didn't know was a crook until the day I saw his face on the television. I not only knew that man, I had spoken to him that very day. And it was a horrifying feeling, which is, what do I do now? And because now you got this is a friend, but on the other hand, apparently he's a crook. And I had no idea. And I literally had this dichotomy of feelings like, oh, what do I do? And because it was like, I don't want to rat on a friend, but hello, this is like criminal. And so I literally took me a couple of minutes of playing that juggling game, and I went, there's no maybe. Picked up the phone and I phoned the tip line and I said, okay, fine. Here's my information. And to this day, I can tell you, I was pretty scared for doing it for fear of some sort of retaliation, but there was no choice. It was just like, I have to help the cops here. I like this quote. It says, Growing old is no more than a bad habit which a busy person has no time to form. Um, Steve Harvey said, all I knew growing up was that my father was married to and loved my mama, period. He worked hard, made some money, put it on the dresser. She spent it on the family, and he went out and earned some more. He taught me the most about love. Right? It's just like, what is love? I think about, I don't think it's like adulthood, right? I don't think love is Disneyland stuff. I think love is where you can just live every day and be happy together, ups and downs. I think that to be able to be with somebody that you absolutely trust and that you love them at their worst, that is love. It's not at their best. And it was funny because again, I refer to this game I was playing and this incident that happened. And then they said, "Oh, but you are a valued member of the team." I said, "Really? It's a bit like love. Don't tell me, show me." It's like you have not shown me that I'm a valued member of the team. And so your choice. If you want me to feel if you want me to feel valued, then do the things that make me valued. Now, I am pretty certain that they're just rolling their eyes, and I don't care, but it is true for me. Mind saying it anymore. And I don't mind if some people don't like me for it. That's all fine. This is called, excuse me. I know that I am not a popular person because I don't say yes to everything. I think things through and I think of them at different angles and I wonder and worry about the implications of things, which, when you're playing an online game, most people don't. So my attitude is, I know that I'm probably 50 years older than anybody else in the room, but hello, I still deserve to be treated well. I will. So your choice. If you don't want me, carry on treating me like this. I'll find another group that does. And somebody said, I haven't always been confident. I actually suffered with low self-esteem growing up. Eventually, I got to the point where I was just like, okay, this is taking too much energy. After that, I started accepting myself for who I really was. And I was like, whoever is not accepted, they weren't really meant to be in my life anyway. How many of you can feel that? That, for a lot of your life, you pretended to be somebody you're not. You see, I realize, I was talking to Yvonne about this week, and she said something about, yeah, it takes people a little while to get you because you're not like most people. And I went, no, I'm not. You're right. Because I do tell the truth more than most people. And I also don't necessarily say it as nicely as a lot of people. I just tell my truth. And so to me, it's just who I am. And if you handle that, then, that's okay with me. So, but I do believe that if you understand, if you bother to get to know me and understand, that really you can, I can be your best friend that you've ever had. Yes, Beth is saying pretending is so much harder than being yourself. It is her life. Yes, Beth, isn't that amazing when you realize that? When I think about the lengths I used to go to, Beth, to pretend that I was more organized, tidier. I used to dread people coming to visit me because my house was always a mess. Well, guess what? I don't dread people coming to visit me. I've learned how to tidy it up. I've grown up. Jody, I'm pretty certain that you are now on a mission to box up your life in a different way, right? Into cubies, because it's possible to do one cubie at a time. Believe me, I know. And I realize the advantages to having your life in cubies is that when I go to move, you just pile up the cubies, put them in a truck, and then unpile them the other side and just put them back where they belong. So I want to tell you something. You know, it's amazing how much a cubie holds if you got them organized correctly. It's just like you don't have to be really tidy, you just need to hack it into the right cubie because you know somewhere in there it is. It's in there somewhere, just gotta find it. Because that's my cubie where I throw things like that. Now, when you get really organized, you know, you take all those things you've hacked into there and you put them into other little boxes, I suppose. I don't know. I'll let you know if I ever get there. So I'm looking at this whole thing about being adult. I think being adult is being accountable for our own happiness. What do you think? I think being adult is being accountable for our own wealth, right? For our own, uh, in other words, I live within my means. I think being adult is being responsible for my own mental health. When I say being responsible for my own mental health, I realize that in order to feel mentally well, I need to take vitamin D every day. I realize that I need to do things to feed my soul. I realize that I cannot go at everybody else's speed. It drives me insane. You know, when I look at it and I go, I am responsible for that. I'm an adult. And so now when people want me to rush around and do things at their speed, I go, look, I'd love to be able to do it at your speed, but I choose not to. Sorry. I had a situation where they need to do an agent's tour next week, and it needs to be between 10 and 12. And the joke is that I don't get up until 10. So that means I'm going to have to learn to go to bed earlier and get up earlier for a few days so that I can get up early enough to not only get up and get dressed, but also tidy the house. Now, some of you know I will probably tidy the house to the nth degree the night before. And so I only have to get up and leave the house. You know, that would be very well planned. You know, literally take my pills and go to somewhere and go and have breakfast while they do their little tour. And I wake up having my 2 cups of coffee somewhere else. You see, I can get a sense of humor if I want to. So I think that's another thing. Being adult is being responsible for the amount of humor in our lives, not waiting for other people to bring it. I find myself very amusing these days. All right, everybody. So there we go. What is it to be adult? I think it's a work in progress, bottom line. I think every day I can see moments when I'm pretty childish. And that's okay. And then there are other times when I think, boy, that was pretty adult of me. I can't believe I did that. So, you know, have a little competition with yourself. Enjoy the process. I'm out of here. I have some adult things I need to be working on this afternoon, and I will see the rest of you this evening. So be a work in progress. If you know, decide this year, you know, what is my adult rating at the moment? Do I see myself as somebody who complains all the time, in which case that's childish? Or do I see myself as a, you know, if I see myself as a victim all the time, then that's pretty childish. But if I see myself in control of my own life and it's up to me how happy I am, how much money I make, you know, how much I travel, how much I do this, how much I do that, you know, then I'm pretty adult. And I would set a goal. Hope you've enjoyed the broadcast. And if you have, please, you know, leave a comment below. And thank you for your time. And I'm sorry for the fact that for some reason my computer is not having fun with its audio. I'm going to do some tests with it and see what's going on. This is Dear Mama Sal saying thank you so much. And we'll see you this evening. For those of you who don't know, we will be back at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And I'll see you then. Bye-bye for now. I have no idea how to stop this broadcast here, but I'll find out. I hope.